Life. Sign up now. Limited time offer. Offer expires without notice. Reservations not required. Observations encouraged. Free gift with purchase. No purchase required. Act now. Avoid the rush. You will be silent a long time. Talk now. If youth is really wasted on the young, don't waste another day. Why wait until you're near death to live? No obligation except to be true to your calling. No mulligans, no do-overs, no rewinds. And that's the good news. This is not a dress rehearsal. Stop treating your life like it is. Survey says life's not fair. Life knocked you down, get up again, free of charge. And maybe more than anything, I want to encourage people. I want to remind people of what they already know so they can live the life they were meant to live. I'm a storyteller. I can teach you what I know. I cannot teach you what you know. And deep down, you know, life is awesome and it beats the alternative. Sign up now. I wrote that in 2013 and put it in a metaphorical drawer. I thought I was writing some random ideas. Looking back, I was writing instructions, and they were instructions for me. Every meaningful thing that's happened to me since I started my second act has required my participation. I know one thing for certain. Life is now, it is not later. And I think a lot of people live their lives as if, and I know I did too, life will happen someday when I lose weight, when I get the new job, when I meet the right partner, when the kids go off to college, when I heal. I don't know. When is something that never seems to come. And life is not later, it is now. The person you are today decides the person you'll be in the future. And the lie that I believed for so long was that clarity came first, knowing, certainty, um, belief, readiness. It all came first. And life never worked that way for me. I mean, I can look back and tell you it honestly never looked that way for me. I moved halfway across the country when I had a job where I was set for life to take on a new responsibility. I didn't know what was next. I knew that I was going to do that before I was ready to do it. And so I did. And the life I created from that worked out perfectly well until it didn't. It certainly wasn't the job's fault. And I know that waiting cost me. Clarity arrived after the moment. Um, I had a glimpse when I was first starting my life over. It was a really meaningful experience, the weight of which didn't hit me until much later, but it had an impact at the time. One of the women who was helping me get back on my feet again had invited me to her home. It was a modest home compared to the home that I had lived in previously. But I had this experience as I was walking up to her door. Everything looked so put together, and not in a decorator fashion sense. It just looked intentional. She had given thought and care in selecting things. Even from her front porch, I could tell that. And when I stepped through the door and went inside and visited with her, the thing that struck me the most wasn't how it looked. I can't even tell you what it looked like that well inside, but I could tell you how it felt. It felt warm. It felt safe, cozy, peaceful, welcoming, grounded. It felt like a life I wanted to have. I didn't want to be her. I didn't want her life, but I really wanted what her life represented. And it was peace and self-trust and enoughness. It was a life that fit. I mean, just right. And I know today, action creates clarity. Like I told you with my job, I didn't know what I was doing, but I took the job, ended up traveling the world. When I left that career and started over, I had no business learning how to build websites or start in social media marketing, but I just said yes, and I did it. I taught myself along the way and took a lot of classes, as I've said before, starting this podcast. It wasn't a planned thing. Who am I to start a podcast? I took a class. I had an accountability partner. She made a suggestion. I thought, I don't know about this. She insisted, and at some point said, hey, don't come back next week until you've actually done something. And thus, I had a trailer. Was it any good? Not really, but I published it and I made a commitment to publish an episode every Thursday morning, and I have ever since. I think clarity is the footprints that action leaves behind, at least in my experience. And the other thing that I'm super sure about is that courage creates evidence. Evidence, confidence is overrated. Evidence matters. The proof. I did a lot of speaking in my job, but when I left it, my lifelong career, I was invited to do some public speaking. I was unsure of myself. I was shaky. I was fearful. I did it anyways, and I didn't die. And that courage created the evidence that I was capable to do those things. I didn't become confident first. You don't become confident first. You become confident after accumulating that evidence. So I went about rebuilding or building, I would say, building my life, right? Pretty much from the ground up. It was not glamorous. It was not linear. I took wrong turns, left turns, backtracked, so many things. I did a lot of pruning. I spent a lot of time with what my truth was and accountability and some boundaries. In last week's episode, I picked up juggling chainsaws and changed my name. Two things I did to claim who I actually was. Behavior creates identity. I'm certain of this. One of the deepest values I hold is one of personal accountability. I feel like that's where real growth comes from. Even when life is horribly unfair, I always eventually have to ask myself, what hand did I play in this? The other thing I'm certain of is that life responds to participation. I know through all of my career reinvention and the podcast included, doors do not open if you're standing in the parking lot. You have to be in the hallway, sometimes knocking on the door or pounding on the door to be let in. And one of the things that I love so much now is that after having these experiences and working to rebuild my life, I seek out and invite other women who are embarking on the same journey. It may not look exactly the same as mine, but they're rebuilding from a place where I can be useful, I feel like. And one of the first things I do is invite them into my home. And I like to make tea. I'm a big tea drinker, hot tea, and I always offer a warm cup of tea with conversation. And I can reflect that the thing that they most say to me on the first or second or third occasion of our meeting would be, your house feels so warm and safe and secure and inviting. And it took me a while and having this experience over and over to acknowledge that I had created the home that fit me. Somewhere along the line, I became her, the woman in the house that was intentionally designed that fit her just right. It was like the best thing ever. And I think what really matters most and what that really means to me is that home, it is not about the house. It's the life, um, the relationships that were pruned, that I ceased to carry one-sided relationships. I stopped tolerating disrespect in my life. That was a hard earned learning of mine. I know today that respect matters a great deal more than being liked. And I have this thing I tell people about pretty regularly. It's the lottery test. And what I say to them is you should be so happy with the life that you have that everyone you know could win the lottery and it would not diminish your happiness. And the goal isn't the money, it isn't the status. The goal is to become so aligned in your own life that you wouldn't trade places with anyone. Their good fortune would not feel like my deprivation. And I knew I could craft a life that looked right, but for me, it had to feel right. You've got to know in a place that you know where you cannot lie to yourself. I can literally hide my own Easter eggs, so I know about these things. And after everything that happened to me, I can tell you 100% that I am crazy about my life. Everyone I know could win the lottery tomorrow, and I'd be thrilled for them because I wouldn't want their life. I want mine. I think returning back to my somewhat sort of notebook that I had in my pocket, as I've said, clarity came through action, not before it, and it definitely left footprints behind. And while life has never shown me the whole blueprint of what was next, every meaningful thing started when I raised my hand, I signed up, I showed up, and I moved before I was ready. 13 years ago, I wrote these words and I put them in a drawer, and I didn't even know what they meant, but I know now. Somewhere along the way, I stopped chasing a life that looked right and I started building one that felt right. I passed the lottery test. And deep down in that place where you know that you know that you know, and you cannot lie to yourself, you know, because you cannot steer a parked car. Next week, if all goes according to plan, I am going to stop talking to myself and I'm going to introduce you to some of the guests that I've had the opportunity to interview. And I'm really excited to bring those conversations to you. And if this episode resonated with you, do all the things. Hit the bell, like, subscribe, forward it to a friend, drop me a comment, tell me what else you want to know and hear about. And remember to come back next week because we're just getting started.